day in question for me when I got injured, the day that changed my life for the course of my life was Memorial Day 1978. My family was having a cookout, just like any normal family was having cookouts on Memorial Day. And it was still early, 1 o'clock or so in the afternoon, and food wasn't ready. We had other family coming over, friends coming over to enjoy some backyard barbecue. So I went out to hang out with some of my friends, like I always do, and we had a little dirt bike track. We used to ride mini bikes and gas dirt bikes in parking lots and out in the park in West Philadelphia. We had a little dirt bike track set up next to a train yard. Now, this train yard was used for commuter trains as well as freight trains. And these train tracks, they separated two different sections of West Philadelphia, West Philly and the Winfield section. So we had to go across a bridge to go into the Winfield section. And that bridge went over top of the train tracks. So a lot of times we didn't want to go all the way up to the bridge, which was, at 59th Street. And then there was another underpass, which was at 52nd Street, get around these train tracks. So that's 7 blocks. So we would cut across the train tracks to shorten the distance. And so the train tracks were actually a playground of sorts for us kids. We didn't realize the danger that lurked around those trains. A lot of times we would see the conductors of the trains when they come by, they would see us kids playing out there and they would actually wave to us. So we thought it was a, inviting environment. We didn't know it was a very dangerous place to play. This one particular day, there were some boxcars that were parked out on sitting out there. I guess they were waiting for, to be moved or whatever. And I just looked at those boxcars as a mountain to climb. And this is something that I had done previously. I had climbed on top of boxcars. We used to look inside of boxcars and climb underneath of them. And, it was just something to play on. And this day there was some unusually tall boxcars that were parked out on those tracks. Now, some of these trains were diesel locomotive. That's how they pulled their boxcars, and the engines pulled the train cars. And some of these trains were electric. And there was an electric wire that was stretched over top of some of these box. On those wires all day long. So we figured if the birds could sit on them, there was no problem with us getting near them. But the problem is the birds actually flew to those wires and they landed on them from the air. Now, if we get close to a wire like that and we're touching the ground, we complete a circuit. And that's where you get electrocuted. And I got on top of one of these tall box cars and I got too close to one of the electrical power wires. And there was 13,000 volts of electricity going through that wire. And the electricity arced onto me, just like a magnet to a paper clip. This, like, I got too close and then all of a sudden the electricity reached out and touched me. And through the grace of God, I'm still here to give you my testimony. But 13,000 volts of electricity, they tell me that it only takes about 2,500 volts to kill a person in the electric chair.